You know those people who just vanish from the corporate ladder? Not in a dramatic, I quit my job to travel the world way. Quietly. One day they're climbing, networking, polishing their LinkedIn. The next, they're just gone. Smaller house, fewer hours, an older car, and somehow they seem weirdly okay with it. This isn't burnout. It isn't a breakdown. It's a quiet recalibration. And the research says their brains might actually run on a different setting than everyone's still racing. Stay with me, because this changes what winning even means. Here's what makes these people so strange. They didn't lose a race. They stopped agreeing it was a race at all. While most of us are grinding harder, stacking certifications, angling for the next title bump, this whole quiet group has stepped off the treadmill, and they're not looking back. And the unsettling part? They don't seem to be white-knuckling it. No visible struggle, no countdown to a comeback. Most people assume that kind of exit takes a crisis. It usually doesn't. The loudest quitters burn out. The ones who actually make it out leave without a sound. Now, it's tempting to say the rat race is a trap somebody built to exploit you. It isn't. And this is the part almost nobody gets. The race is beautifully, almost perfectly aligned with how your brain evolved. Deep in your head, there's a reward circuit called the mesolimbic pathway. Think of it as a private wire running from the base of your brain to the part that decides what feels good. It lights up for food. It lights up for closeness. And it lights up hard when someone important tells you you did well. That's not a flaw. That circuit kept your ancestors alive. So when a promotion feels amazing, your brain isn't being shallow. It's doing exactly what 100,000 years of survival trained it to do. Go back far enough and status wasn't vanity. It was life or death. For roughly 300,000 years, where you sat in the group decided everything. Higher status meant more food, safer sleep, better mates, protection when things went bad. Your brain learned one brutal rule: climb or get left behind. So it wired status right into the same reward system as your basic needs. That's why a better job title can feel like a full meal. Your brain treats the corner office like it treats dinner. It's not greed. It's a survival instinct wearing a business suit. And that suit is very, very hard to take off. Then modern work took that ancient wiring and weaponized it. Think about how a career is actually built. Small wins, constant feedback, visible scores. You hit the quarterly target, you get the bonus. You get the bonus, you get the ping, the praise, the title. Each hit is tiny, but they never stop coming. It's the most efficient dopamine delivery system ever designed, and almost nobody notices they're plugged in. Here's the twist, though. A machine this good at feeding you never actually lets you feel full. And that's not a side effect. That's the whole point. So why doesn't all that winning make people happy? Because of a quiet little glitch called hedonic adaptation. Simple version, whatever you get, your brain moves the finish line. The raise that felt huge in March feels normal by June. The bigger house becomes just the house. Economists have watched this for 50 years. It's the Easterlin paradox. Past a certain point, more income barely moves your happiness because your expectations climb right along with your paycheck. And here's the cruel part almost no one talks about. Your brain adapts up fast, but it fights adaptation down. Getting richer stops thrilling you quickly. Getting poorer scares you for a long time. So you keep running, not toward joy, but away from a fear that never fully switches off. This is where the quiet exiters get interesting. When you look at what actually changed in them, it isn't willpower. They didn't white-knuckle their way out of wanting nice things. Something deeper shifted. The brain's reward system slowly repointed itself. The dopamine that used to fire for a promotion started firing for a slow morning, for time with their kids, for the freedom to say no. Same circuit, different target. And here's a fact that reframes the whole thing. Reward sensitivity isn't identical in everyone. Research on personality in the brain, going back to work out of Cornell, found that some people's reward systems run hotter than others. So for a few, the pull of status was always a little quieter. which made stepping away feel less like sacrifice and more like relief. They didn't kill their ambition. They aimed it somewhere the machine can't sell. There's a hidden currency underneath all of this, and it isn't money. It's time. Every hour you spend climbing is an hour traded for a payoff that lands years from now, if it lands at all. Psychologists have a name for how we value that trade: temporal discounting. Most of us are wired to grab the reward in front of us and shrink the value of anything far away. That's why a bonus today feels bigger than freedom in 10 years. But the quiet exiters run the math differently. They noticed something obvious that almost everyone ignores. Money is renewable. You can always earn more. Time is not. Every year you spend chasing the next rung is gone permanently, and no promotion buys it back. So they started treating time as the expensive thing and money as the cheap thing. That one flip changes every decision. A smaller paycheck stops being a loss and starts being a purchase. They're buying back their own hours, and once you see the world that way, a raise that costs you your evenings, your weekends, your kids growing up, stops looking like a win. It starts looking like the most expensive thing you could ever buy. Picture one of them, not a hermit, not some millionaire who cashed out, just a regular person. 10 years ago, they were on track. Good title, rising salary, the respect that comes with both. Then, slowly, they stopped saying yes. They turned down the promotion that meant more travel. They kept the older car and skipped the bigger house. They started leaving at 5. Nobody threw a party. Most people barely noticed. From the outside, it looks like they lost a step, like the fire went out. But sit with them for an afternoon, and you notice something strange. They're not restless. They're not secretly plotting a comeback. They sleep well. They're present in a way that's almost unsettling, because most of us forgot what that even looks like. They didn't stop wanting things. They just stopped wanting the things the office was selling. Ask them if they miss it, and you get a pause, then a small, honest shrug. Sometimes they'll say, then they go pick up their kids. So if it's not weakness, why does it make everyone else so uncomfortable? Because these people break the scoreboard. Most of us silently agree on how to keep score: title, salaries, square footage. When someone stops playing, it doesn't just confuse people. It threatens the whole game, because it hints the scoreboard might be optional. That's why the quiet exiter gets called lazy, unmotivated, someone who gave up on their potential. But sit with what actually happened. They didn't fail the game. They looked at the board, decided the points were fake, and walked. The people still climbing aren't wrong either. They're chasing real, valid drives, security, status, belonging. It's just that the exiters are optimizing for something the scoreboard was never built to measure. Two different games. Neither one is the loser. Here's the thing about stepping off. You can't unfeel the relief. Once you've felt the Tuesday afternoon that belongs entirely to you, the ladder starts to look less like a ladder and more like a very tall, very crowded line for a prize nobody can quite describe. Maybe you climb back on someday. Maybe you don't. But you can't unknow that there's another way to keep score. So let me leave you with the question the quiet exiters ask themselves every morning, the one that started all of this. If the reward for winning the race is just permission to run it again, what exactly are you running toward?